Good morning students, this is Latif sir. Today in this video I am going to discuss about chemical changes. So first you have to know what is a chemical change. A chemical change is a type of change in which there is a change in chemical composition of the substance. And after each chemical change you will get some new substance. Okay, so changes in which the original substance undergoes a change in its chemical composition and hence a new substance is formed are called chemical changes. And the newly formed substance, the physical and chemical properties of the newly formed substance is different from the original substance. Okay, so chemical change means a change in the chemical composition or chemical properties of a substance due to the formation of new substance, and since a new substance is formed, its physical and chemical properties differ from the substance undergoing the chemical change. Okay, now see main features of chemical change. Main features of a chemical change. First point, there is a change in the physical appearance as well as in the chemical composition of the substance. For example, when a cracker burst, a violent chemical reaction takes place and both its physical and chemical properties changes. Okay, so in a chemical change there is a change in the physical appearance as well as in the chemical composition of the substance. Second point, the original substance undergoes a change in its chemical composition. The original substance undergoes a change in its chemical composition and a new substance is formed. So in each chemical change there is a change in chemical composition of the substance and a new substance is formed after the chemical change. Okay, and as new substance is formed after the chemical change or chemical reaction, so chemical change can be represented by an equation. Next point, like physical change, there is no gain or loss of mass during the change. Like physical change, there is no gain or loss of mass during the change. That is, law of conservation of mass is also valid for chemical change. Okay, next point, these changes are usually difficult to reverse by physical method. That is, it is not easy to reverse the chemical change in opposite direction by using different physical methods. Next point, these changes, that is chemical changes, involve a considerable amount of energy as compared to physical change. That means in any chemical change the energy change is high, is more than physical change. Okay, so chemical changes involve a considerable amount of energy change or energy as compared to physical change. This is because a chemical change involves rearrangement of atoms and molecules. Now say some examples of chemical changes are given. Example of iron fillings and sulfur powder. If we heat the mixture, if we heat this mixture, that is iron fillings and sulfur powder, it undergoes a chemical change. When heated, iron fillings and yellow sulfur powder, they combine to form a new black substance called iron sulfide. That means when a mixture of iron fillings and sulfur powder is heated, we will get a new substance, iron sulfide, and the color of iron sulfide is black. And this iron sulfide neither gets attracted to a bar magnet nor is it yellow in color. That is, properties, physical and chemical properties of the newly formed substance, that is iron sulfide, is different from initially taken substances, iron fillings and sulfur powder. You know, iron fillings can attract a magnet, or iron fillings can be attracted by magnet, and sulfur is a yellow powder. Huh? Sulfur powder is yellowish in color, but the color of the newly formed products iron sulfide is black, and it is not attracted by magnet. Okay, so we can conclude that the newly formed product, the physical and chemical properties of the newly formed product is different from the initially taken substance, or is different from the substances undergoing in the chemical change. And a chemical change is generally accompanied with specific characteristics, like these are characteristic of a chemical change. A chemical change is generally accompanied by specific characteristics like change in color, change in order, formation of precipitate, evolution of gas, evolution of absorption, evolution of or absorption of energy or heat, and light, evolution of light. Okay, so these are some important characteristic of a chemical change: change in order, change in colors, formation of precipitate, evolution of gas, evolution or absorption of energy or heat or light, etc. Okay, for example, if we take some piece of chalk in a beaker, and then if we add vinegar to the chalk, then we will observe the evolution of a gas, and the gas is carbon dioxide. We will see that carbon dioxide gas is evolving. Similarly, if we put iron nails in vinegar, then we will again observe bubbles of gas due to formation of hydrogen gas. So these are some chemical change. Next, some other type of chemical changes. Example of chemical changes are given here: rusting of iron, germination of seed, cooking of food, nitrogen fixation, combustion of fuel, action of medicine. These are some other more examples of chemical changes. Okay. Next point, for rusting of iron, you know, rusting of iron is a chemical change. So for rusting of iron to take place, air and water are essential conditions. Okay, for rusting of iron, air and water, air means oxygen and water means H2O, are essential conditions required. During combustion is also a chemical change. Combustion means or burning means reaction with oxygen. So during combustion or burning, the substance combine with oxygen at higher temperature, releasing heat and light. Okay, so this is the characteristic of burning or combustion: heat and light you will get. Okay, some other naturally occurring chemical changes are given here. Formation of soil, formation of fossil fuel, formation of rocks, eruption of volcanoes. All these are chemical changes, and all biological processes like photosynthesis, multiplication of cells, digestion, respiration, all these biological processes are also one type of chemical changes. Okay, now see next point. Many chemical changes are reversible. Many chemical changes are reversible, and many chemical changes are irreversible, and some of the chemical changes are reversible. That is maximum chemical changes are irreversible. Okay, and some of the chemical changes are reversible. For example, if limestone is heated, limestone, that is CaCO3, calcium carbonate, limestone means CaCO3, is heated in a closed container, it decomposes to give calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. This reaction CaCO3 reversible arrow CaO plus CO2. If you heat limestone, that is calcium carbonate, in a closed vessel, then this chemical change will be reversible chemical change. Okay, this is because if carbon dioxide gas is formed, is not removed, then the carbon dioxide combine with calcium oxide, and it again form calcium carbonate. Okay, calcium oxide and carbon dioxide again combine to form calcium carbonate. That's why this change is reversible. So under closed vessel, this reaction is reversible. But if you carried out same reaction, that is heating of limestone in open vessel, then the reaction will be irreversible. Remember that. If you carried out the same reaction, if you carried out the same reaction in an open vessel, then the reaction will be irreversible. One more example is given: reversible chemical change. When ammonia is formed, ammonia gas is formed by the combination of hydrogen and nitrogen. We know when hydrogen and nitrogen combine, you will get ammonia gas, and it is a when it is cooled and separated, so that it does not decompose back into nitrogen and oxygen, and hydrogen. Okay, so this is a reversible process, reversible chemical change, when nitrogen and hydrogen combine to give ammonia. Okay, because the ammonia formed can decompose to give hydrogen and nitrogen. That's why the ammonia gas formed is cooled and separated from the mixture, so that it does not decompose back to hydrogen and nitrogen. Okay, decomposition of carbonic acid, phosphorus pentachloride, and many others are also reversible chemical changes. Now see differences between physical and chemical changes. In physical changes, first physical changes, the original substance does not undergo a change in its chemical composition. In a physical change, there is no change in chemical composition, and no new substance is formed. But in a chemical change, the original substance undergoes a change in its chemical composition. In a chemical change, the original substance undergoes a change in its chemical composition, and hence a new substance is formed. Second point, physical change, it cannot be represented by an equation, but chemical change can be represented by an equation. In physical change, a small amount of energy is involved, but in a chemical change, greater amount of energy is involved. Next point, physical change can be reversed by physical method. Physical change can be reversed by physical method, and chemical change cannot be reversed by physical methods. So these are some basic differences between physical and chemical changes. Okay, so you have to remember the definition of chemical change and important feature of a chemical changes. Okay, and examples of different type of example of chemical changes you have to remember. Thank you students, and this chapter is completed.